Do you know the anime Angel Beats? Did you know that soon after, they released a prequel to the story that covers stuff like how the groups got started and even the backgrounds to different characters? Like this girl. Do you remember who she is? She was the emotionless operator of the group who pops up at random times throughout the story. Have you ever wondered what her story was? Have you ever wondered what the backgrounds to other characters were that weren't covered in the anime? Then check out the manga, Angel Beats Heaven's Door. This manga is an adaptation of the light novel, Angel Beats Track 0, but the manga version has visuals, so I'm going with that. But if you're too lazy for that, don't worry, I'll be going over their backgrounds. So this is your spoiler warning for this decade-old story. But first off, a recap of the setting. Angel Beats is set in a high school that is set inside what could best be described as limbo. Kids who had died while holding on to a regret are placed in the school in order to overcome that regret and also to get the great high school experience that they deserve, but some of them had pretty bad life experiences. But this girl, Yuri, she had a little too bad of a life experience that caused her to rebel against the one who she thinks caused it, aka God. So she starts a group called Many Things, but mostly, or SSS for short. And they spent years fighting to get revenge on God. I said kids, but really it's only Japanese kids. So maybe other countries have their own high school afterlife limbo thingy. Alright, so that's it for the basic plot. Now let's talk about some of the kids in the group and their reasons for being there. Let's start off with the operator girl, who has no emotions. Her name is Yusa. And, well, let's start off with what happens in the story first. One random day, one of the SSS members is killed by being stabbed in the back. So the group decide to set up a patrol to catch the killer, but for some reason they can't catch this killer because they were always stabbed in the back, and so they weren't able to see what happened to them, except for this one time.
Look how they massacred my boy.
But eventually they were able to set up a trap to catch the killer, and guess what they find? It was this crazy girl. She turns out to be Yusa. Here's where the story gets dark. For some reason, Yusa only targeted men, and when she stabbed them multiple times, like she was given into rage. And then when they do set the trap and they finally catch her, it's the guys who do it, and the first thing she yells when the guys hold her down is, "Don't touch me with your filthy hands." Remember when I said the kids that end up in this place didn't exactly live good lives? Well, it's never said in the story, only implied. But most likely, this poor girl was raped and killed. And with those past memories, she went on a killing spree, killing any NPC male that she sees, or any male characters of the SSS. She's at the point where it's impossible to control her anger towards men, given what she went through, so she ends up going to Angel for help. Angel uses her Angel Player program to try to help her, but it's not complete, so there's a little side effect to it. It ends up getting rid of her emotions, hence why she's so emotionless. Yusa soon becomes the group's operator, and the skills she gained while being a serial killer allows her to pop up out of nowhere. In fact, I don't think you ever see her walk, and sorry, I started off with the darkest one, the rest aren't that bad. The next character background I want to talk about is this guy. His name is Cha. Not much to say about his past, but what we do know is that he got married while in high school. His wife's parents didn't like him and wanted them to get a divorce, but they chose to run away together, pretty much eloping, and start a new life together, just the two of them. It doesn't tell us how, but for some reason the two end up getting separated, and with my personal guess, I would guess that the family of the wife finds them and ends up dragging the wife back home with them. We don't get how he died, but when he died, he most likely held on to the regret of having his wife taken from him. My reasoning for why she was taken away and not killed is because when he first gets into the world, he states, "When I first came to this world, I wanted to make a home so that it wouldn't matter when she came." Meaning, if he's waiting for his wife in the afterlife, he did not see her die. And if she was dead, I figured he'll be looking for her in the afterlife. One of the reasons her parents didn't like him is because whatever he did in the past, it involved making guns. So who knows exactly what kind of person he was in the past. Alright, let's talk about this big fella. His name is Matsushita Goron. He was blind when he was alive, but he wasn't born that way. When he was first told that he was in the afterlife, he understood it very quickly because he got his vision back. When he was still alive, at first he had bad eyesight, so he did Paralympic judo until his eyesight completely disappeared. He was totally blind. We're not told how he died, and most likely his regret was losing his eyesight and not being able to do what he enjoyed. There is something I find weird about this guy. Not in the like he's a weirdo. I found it weird that in the manga he is shown to have his eyes wide open, but in the anime his eyes are closed. My guess with this is that he was so used to being blind and having his eyes closed that after a while he just kept his eyes closed even though he knows he can see. He's just used to it. That's my guess. It could be wrong. Most likely is wrong. But I do wonder if that was an early hint to him being blind. Like he lived the end of his life with his eyes closed, and perhaps he got so used to that he does it while even being able to see. But I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Let me know below what you think. Alright, the next background I want to talk about is Hinata's. Did you know that he died by getting hit by a truck and not a drug overdose? Making him one of the first isekai protagonists, even before Rudy. However, we don't know if the drugs had any influence in his death. Like, was he impaired by the drugs and didn't see the truck coming? Or while he was on drugs, did he decide to fight Truck-kun and end up losing? Who knows? Next we have Fujimaki. He was in the Yakuza, but only for one day. When he does tell his story, we don't actually get to hear it. What we get to see is him telling it to the group, and you get to see their reactions to it, but we don't know what happened to him. But it's sad enough to make Oyama cry, and Yuri feel sympathy for him. My guess is that on the first day of him being a Yakuza, he ended up dying. Got smoked, something, gang violence, who knows. But I have no idea. Now the final character that I want to talk about today is the ninja Shina. If you thought that she was stranger than the rest, then you would be right. But what is she? Is she a Chunibo or something? No. She's actually from a different era of Japan. She was raised to be an assassin, so her only purpose in life was to kill. That's why she's so skilled with everything she does. The name Shina is given to her by Yuripi because Shina only had a call sign of C7, but in Japanese it's pronounced Shinana. If you put those together and throw away a na, you get Shina. And that's why she doesn't use a gun, because the weapons of her era were the kodachi. So how did she die? We don't know that either. I don't think we really get any details on how most people die. We just get glimpses of how their life was, but not how they died. We had to make guesses on what happened. But my guess is probably a failed mission. Here's some additional information about her. She's actually the first person to end up in the afterlife in the group. Yuripi guesses that at her first time arriving to the afterlife, she was freaked out by the school and the things that surrounded it because they were not concepts that she grew up with. So she hid in a cave waiting for any potential enemies that were going to show up and hunt her down. And when she was asked how long she's been in the cave, she stated 3,000 days. That's over 8 years. And also, if you didn't realize with the whole Tachibana and Otonashi thing, time is pretty much irrelevant in the afterlife in the story. Shina's arrival kind of proves that, because why would there be a modern Japanese school with vending machines there when Shina first arrived? Because when she died, those things weren't a thing. Those are the backgrounds we get from the manga Angel Beats Heaven's Door. We do get more character backgrounds from different media sources, such as the manga series Angel Beats: The Last Operation, which is a retelling of the anime storyline, but with extra content. However, it does look like they stopped halfway through, so we might never get past Volume 4, which ends with Otonashi getting his memory back. The other sources are from the visual novel game called Angel Beats First Beat, and the mobile game collaboration called Heaven Burns Red, which is a game written and composed by Jun Maeda, the maker of Angel Beats. I have not played the visual novel Angel Beats the First Beat, so I don't know what exactly it covers. The mobile game is only in Japanese, so I can't play that either. So I need to look into it more before talking about any backgrounds from it. The last thing I want to say is I didn't cover any of the story arcs in the manga Angel Beats Heaven's Door, because I firmly believe that everyone should read it themselves and experience it for their own joy. If you want to see how each character ends up getting added into the story, I do highly recommend checking out that manga. However, 7 Seas Entertainment only ever released the first volume, and that's pretty hard to find as is. So you're going to have to read it online on a pirating site. Look, if you're not going to give us a legal way to read manga, then looking for it online is fair game. That's my stance. Can't make me budge. Alright, that's going to be it for today's video. In my next video, I will be talking about the other character backgrounds that we didn't get in this manga. So if you're interested in that, subscribe so you don't miss it. I will be making it regardless if there's anyone out there that wants to see it, because I love this story. It's the first anime I have ever watched, causing my life to go down the path it did. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess we'll find out. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day. Until next time, goodbye.